excuse me. Oh, where's my water? For education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey, all there to help you and yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. Excuse me. So yes, today's episode is all about facing fears in order to overcome anxiety. First of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Burmy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. And there's a reason why I'm telling you about this book specifically now. And that is because I had to face a lot of fears just to even do this channel and bring about this book. So if you didn't already know, I have a disability, mental health condition called generalized anxiety disorder. And generalized anxiety disorder it's basically really, really high levels of anxiety to the point where it's very debilitating sometimes for me. So I can be in so much pain that I'm just lying on the bed in agony, and it's really difficult. It's hard to make decisions sometimes because, you know, I get nervous and worried about what's going to happen. If it's something that's familiar that I've done before and I'm used to it, I'm not too bad. I just got a little bit of nerves sometimes. But if it's something that's new, or if there's any kind of repeated pattern there in the past, then it can be really difficult. But I've had to face a lot of my fears in order to move forward in my life, and I would encourage you, if you have got anxiety, to do the same, even though it's really difficult, because facing the fears actually brings about more anxiety usually. But the thing is, if we don't face these fears and try and push through some of them, anxiety will get the better of us, and we will get to the point where we can't do anything in our lives, and this is what we really, really don't want. So you might have remembered that I said that there was a guy I knew, saw in Poundland, who seemed really, really nice person, younger foreign guy, and I was going to like message him, and then I retracted the message. Then I went to message again, retracted it. Anyway, I friend requested him and sent him a message. He's accepted my friend request. I don't think he'll probably see me outside of his store anyway. I think he'll just have me as a Facebook friend, I think, because he doesn't really seem that interested in being friends outside of his work. But it's fine. He's polite to me, nice guy. So there you go. You know, I think that's all it's going to be. He did accept my friend request, and I think that'll be it. So that's fine. You know, it's nice that he's done that even. He asked me if I could leave a review of basically, because I said, you know, how good he was in the store with me. So I've done that for him. Yeah, so I think, because I asked him questions about hobbies and interests, because I said I'd like to get to know him more as a friend, but he didn't really say anything about those. So that's fine. I've been really, really nervous about even friending him all day. So that's kind of probably for the best, you know, keep it just like quite formal and stuff. You know, good guys are like that, aren't they? So that's fine. But you know, like, you know, I wanted to do that because I was getting really anxious, and I want to like make sure that I'm facing my anxieties and not let them get the better of me, because the trouble is, if you let it get the better of you all the time, they just don't do anything. And I knew that one guy wasn't really looking for a relationship anyway, so there's less to be anxious about, I think, if you know these things. But yeah, so I think it'll just like be on the Messenger and like Facebook. I don't think he'll do much more with probably the initial messages I'm sending him, and that'll be it. But you know, it is what it is. I would like to make more friends in my city, but it's okay if it doesn't happen. I got really busy anyway. But yeah, I've got an asexual meetup coming up next month as well. So yeah, I've had to face my fears a lot, because years ago I couldn't even be in groups, and now I actually organise group meetups for asexual. So that's a huge shift for me as well, between what I used to be like and what I'm like now. So I used to be quite scared in groups. I used to be nervous and anxious. I used to be like just honing on one person, just focusing on one person, talking to them whenever I was in a group. And then when I decided to do asexual meetups starting January 2015, it completely changed my life, because then I actually ended up organising groups, and I got used to being in groups and actually organising group meetups, and I do love doing that now. I find it really, really helpful, really, really good, and I really love it, basically. Yeah, so it's incredible. and people enjoy themselves. They love coming to my meetups. It takes some organizing, so it can be a bit stressful sometimes, but I really enjoy it. And then for the Asexual Guide to Sex book I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to talk to you about that. But then this is the Asexual Perspectives book. And even to do this channel, you know, this talks about love, life, and sex, but to even do this channel, what I'm talking on now, I had to get out of my comfort zone, because prior to starting this channel, I never used to talk about sex whatsoever. It used to be something that was always be talked about only between me and a partner that I had in the past. And so, you know, I had to really push through all my fears and boundaries to be able to talk about sex in an educational way and at all, because I just couldn't talk about it, not even with a girlfriend, you know, no one. So I've had to really push through my fears and boundaries to do that. But if you've got anxiety, the only way you can actually accomplish anything in your life is if you do like push through your anxiety and have to actually go through anxiety. It's really quite difficult sometimes, but I feel that if you can come out the other side, it can be very, very empowering. Like this is my Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. Now, I was advised by my family not to publish this book, but I don't listen to them. I go ahead and do what I know is right. And this book now, I think it's got 10 reviews. I think it's got 4.5 stars. You know, it's very, very popular book. I do love it, and I'm so pleased, because even if I just help one person, you know, change a life, it's really worth it. And I know this book is really good. I designed the cover myself as well. I did ask friends' opinions on Facebook of that, you know, which cover they prefer. And I really am pleased with the result. You know, it's designed in a superhero way. It's autobiographical. And I really do love this book. It's a really nice book. I love glossy covers as well. I tend to always put glossy covers on mine, so they're nice and shiny. I do love that about my books. And yeah, you can get this one from Amazon as well. So I really like gloss finish on books. I think it's really, really nice. I don't know if other people do gloss finishes, but I always do a gloss finish on my book. I just think it finishes it off nicely and it looks more professional personally, but there you go. But yeah, you know, in order to do this, you know, I had to kind of like, you know, not listen to other people and just publish it, because at the end of the day, people should be encouraged to write their books and to publish them, not told not to do it. And you know, I'm glad I went my own way and just did that, because obviously it does help people, because people wouldn't have left all those reviews, and you know, unless it was a good book. So sometimes in life we have to not listen to other people, even if they're near our nearest and dearest, because you know, we're not actually going to progress in our life if we just told, oh, don't do this, don't do that. You know, if you don't try in life, you never ever get anywhere. So we mustn't give up hope, and we must keep trying, and we must keep doing things. The greatest lesson I learned in my life is believe in your ability to work things out. If you believe wholeheartedly that you can work anything out in your life, take some doing. I'm not saying I believe I can work everything out in my life, but if you can be solution focused and just think everything happens for a reason, and think the why will reveal itself, and think you can get through anything life throws at you, it does give you a lot more confidence. And so therefore, if you do something, do an action, and you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world, because it's like, well, okay, I learned by that mistake, I learned by that lesson, and you know, now I can progress and do other things in my life, you know. But it's only when we push for our fears and face them head on and go through them that we actually make a lot more progress in our life. I think a lot of asexuals can relate to the fact of anxiety. It's very difficult anxiety, you know, sometimes, like I said, it's so debilitating, and it's hard sometimes because you can't always push through those fears at the time, because you know the fears are so overwhelming that they actually kind of control your body. And it becomes an involuntary thing, like a fight or flight response, which is not good, but it is the way it is. And so sometimes it's just so debilitating you can't do anything. But the only way I found that really helps is if I make a conscious decision saying, right, I'm going to be anxiety induced for X amount of time, but it'll be worth it, because on the other side of that, when I've pushed through these fears, I'll be able to finally relax again, because I will have done the thing I needed to do that was fearful. And once it's accomplished, I'll feel accomplished and like I've made progress, and therefore I can kind of relax more and feel achieved, like I've done something that was really difficult, but I managed to achieve it, you know. So if you're struggling with anxiety, I really do know how it feels, and a lot of the time I'll be so debilitated by it, I can't actually do the anxiety inducing thing because it's too much for me. It's too overwhelming and overpowering. But I know the only way I'm going to progress in my life is if I do push through my fears and boundaries and do things that are difficult some of the time, you know. So I would urge and encourage you to do the same. But you know, like, be consciously aware of what the outcome could be, and that might not go in your favor. So you just have to be very, very patient with yourself. Oh, excuse me. And so yeah, sometimes it just requires you to think, okay, I'm going to be in anxiety induced state for X amount of time, but I am going to get through this no matter what. So let me just go through it. Let me put my best foot forward. Let me do the thing that I know is going to anxiety induce me, because I just want to push through that and get out the other side. Because otherwise, like I said, the anxiety just builds and builds up until you get to the point where you can't do anything in life, and that's just really sad. So, you know, be brave, be bold, be beautiful you, and reach for the stars, and climb those mountains, and, you know, just do your best and push through and live your dreams. Basically, don't hold yourself back, you know. Be open and that, you know. And like, I'm not afraid of failure and rejection, so if I get rejected in some ways, it's better for me, because I'm like, okay, I don't get so anxiety induced. For example, if guys reject me, I'm like, okay, the guy's not bothered about me, it's fine, and I can kind of like go on my merry way. So actually, for me, rejection kind of feels good sometimes. It didn't used to. It used to feel terrible, but now I've got used to it. I'm kind of like more fearful if you know, like, in terms of like, if I like a guy, I'm more fearful about him liking me back, because I get relationship anxiety inducement. And if he don't like me back, I'm like, oh, there's no relationship there, no potential, so it's fine. That's probably not the most healthiest thing to think, actually, but I'm glad that I can cope with rejection, deal with it now, because years ago I just couldn't do that. I was like, oh, I felt like I was rejection and abandonment and all that lot, but now I'm just like, okay, guy rejects me, it's his loss, isn't it? Like, you know. But I'll remember who my true friends are when I'm more and more famous, which I'm going to be. I remember all you people on my channel. I'll still be on this channel helping you out, and I'm going to remember all the people that are from this channel that are my friends on Facebook, everyone that's my real true friends, before I become even more famous. You know, because when you become more and more famous, people flock to you, but they're not your real friends. Your real friends and people who really want to talk to you are the ones that are there with you in the good times and the difficult times, you know, not just when it suits them. So always remember that. Never, always stay humble, you know. It's really important. But you know, like, anything in life that we achieve usually is done throughout, you know, through pushing through our comfort zone. So through and then out the other side of our comfort zone. And it can be like, really like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. But it's worth it. It's worth it just to achieve different things in your life, to actually, you know, grow as a person, to develop yourself, and to really live into the more upgraded version of yourself, because you've got new skills, new abilities, newfound confidence. Because once you do things that are scary a few times and keep doing them, then, you know, you become more competent. When you become more competent, you know, at doing that, you become more confident, and then competency and confidence and competency are like in a loop. So the more you do something, the more competent you become at it, the more competent you become at it, the more confident you become at it, the more confident you become at it, the more competent you become at it. So this is how it works with anxiety. You need to practice going through your fears, living in the fears for a bit there before the fear calms down. You know, like, I want to do more public speaking in the future, but I know I do have nerves about that. But the fact I want to do it so much will outweigh the nerves, that I will get used to it in the end. But it means going in front of bigger and bigger audiences. But I am prepared for that. But I've been psyching myself up to a lot of things. Like, I've got a campaign I want to do for Asexual Guide To Sex, you know, which is quite controversial. So, you know, it's quite daunting for me as well. There's quite a lot of stuff in my Asexual Guide To Sex still that's quite daunting for me. You know, I'm writing stuff in the book that I haven't even fully explained on my channel before, I don't think. And so it's a more in depth than I would usually go into here. And so, you know, even revealing more personal stuff. So all this is like additional fears and worries and boundaries I'm pushing through myself. But, you know, I feel like in order to progress in my life and get further, then I need to be able to do this. So I strongly, like I said, encourage you and urge you to do the same if you can at all, even if it's just minuscule little goals, one at a time, of pushing through certain things. Because a life lived in fear is a life half lived, as my grandma used to say when she was alive. So I totally agree. A life lived in fear is a life half lived. So it's better not to live in fear and actually push through those fears and boundaries and, you know, live your dreams. Hope you found this video useful, helpful, insight. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Mwah! Lots of love. Bye!